Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Last time we started this series, I would like to say we started the game, and yeah, we technically did, but only part of the intro, because yeah, it's even longer in this game compared to the originals. So yeah, and we also had to study the kanji. Check it out, the title screen. Hi Ringo, nice to see you here. Yeah, so today first we'll check out the rest of the intro. Yeah, hopefully we should at the very least start the game itself, but yeah, without further ado, let's start. Sorry, I picked it. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, these we have already seen, luckily. So yeah, this is the new part. Yeah, on the top right we have the usual A button for Tsugi, the next, as seen last time. But yeah, what we want to check out today is the text itself. これから始まる世界であなたは一人の主人公となって冒険をすることになります。And yeah, first and foremost, we have the usual Kore, part of the Kosoado series, go close to both the speaker and the listener, so far from the speaker, close to the listener, far from both. Though the interrogative also are usually accented on the do itself. With the re, we get the demonstrative pronoun, so this or these, well, in this case, this singular because of the following word, as we see, following particle, I should say. But yeah, without anything else after. So yeah, this, as in this one. And then we have the particle kara, from. And yeah, so this expression, we have seen it before, kore kara, can mean from here. Thank you, Ringo. But yeah, it means from this, literally. So yeah, in the sense of from this point, physically, from here. Or from this, in the sense of after this, and so from now on, we could say also. Yeah, so in this case, actually, by the way, korekara, maybe I haven't mentioned that before, is technically accent on the ra itself. So yeah, on the last, on the ra of the kara. Yeah, makes sense because Korean accented, so the accent that is heard technically is the one of the particle. Unfortunately, in this case, it means that it sounds the same as an unaccented word, but technically it would be accented on the ra. Oh yeah, in this case, of course, temporal meaning. Then we have the usual hajimaru, to begin, to start. We have seen it before in previous series. Hajimeru is the transitive, Hajimaru is the intransitive. Notice again the transitive in Eru, the intransitive in Aru. The intransitive is most likely a classical form of the passive, so something is begun, is started, and so yeah. As in, someone starts, begins something, but yeah, then that's something is started, and so then simply becomes it starts. After that we have a noun. So as usual, actually, it's a relative clause referred to the noun. Noun, which is sekai. It's a Chinese compound. One of those accent on the first syllable. So yeah, not the most common ones, as we have seen. Usually those are unaccented. But the second most common accent for those. So yeah, on the first syllable, on the first more, I should say. Yeah, it doesn't change in that case. So yeah, sekai. It means world. Then we have the particle de. In this case, in at, as in the location, de is the particle used for most verbs, except for those of staying in a location, the locative verbs, in which case we use ni. But yeah, here we have that. After that we have anata. Technically the fundamental way to say you in Japanese. Traditionally polite towards someone of equal or lower status. But yeah, nowadays actually it sounds it's often regarded as rude or at the very least distant. Because yeah, to refer to someone as what is in English you usually use their name followed by san or their title and so on. But yeah, here of course it's referred to a generic you, so yeah, in such cases of course even Japanese now uses anata. There are other pronouns for you, but yeah, anata is the fundamental one. Then we have wa, the topic particle. Wa it as ha, and so the topic particle. And so as for you, but yeah, after that we have hitori. Pretty sure we have seen it before. I think I have also mentioned it when we studied the kanji of ri, because it's the kanji for person. In this case, actually, a numeral plus counter combination. Ri is of strictly Japanese origin, so we use Japanese numerals. Hito, in our case, for number one, so yeah, one person. As a reminder, we use ri for one person, two people, with futari. But yeah, after that we actually change. Futari should be accent on the last syllable, it is. While hitori, yeah, on the to, like usual, like similar to hitotsu and futatsu. With the general purpose counter in that case. But yeah, as a reminder, after that we move on to, we use nin instead for the counter for people. But yeah. Then we have the possessive particle no. In this case, simply to attach the numeral plus counter combination to a noun. Noun, which is shujinko, which we have seen last time. And yeah, quite an important word for video games. And also, by the way, there's now a game that came out some time ago, which has the purpose of teaching Japanese, or at least strengthening one's knowledge of Japanese. And yeah, funny enough, it's called Shujinko. Yeah, so technically protagonist, main character. Although there the play is that, if I recall correctly, there are characters called Shu, Jin, and Ko. So yeah. By the way, we might eventually play. I would like to eventually play it on the channel, but we'll see. But yeah. By the way, as mentioned last time, it's accented on the Jin, so on the G. The accent can stay on long vowels, doubling of the consonant, and yeah, so on the G. Shujinko, most likely because it's actually a compound, a Chinese compound, but one of 3 characters, so yeah, that's why it doesn't follow the usual rules. Then we have the particle to. In this case, it's not the usual usage of to, because it's actually required by the following naru, here in natte, but we'll see why in a second. Naru means to become, and while nowadays in Japanese it uses the particle ni, so easier, become, into. Yeah, there's also this structure, to, naru, so yeah, naru requiring to. It's a formal or literary form of naru, or usage of naru. Yeah, it exists, so yeah, be careful, but yeah, it's required by naru in this case. Naru is accented. It's a U-verb colon verb, so to make that a form, like in this case, we have to follow the rules. It's in ru, so it becomes double consonant te. Again, most likely first we change the U into I to make the continuative form, to add then te, nari te, but then the I most likely fell, nar te, difficult to pronounce, so doubling of the consonant instead, natte. The form in this case, I'd say simply in its fundamental meaning of the te form, so do the action of the verb in te and the rest of the sentence. Otherwise, it could be simply the other alternatives, by doing the action of the verb in te, while doing the action of the verb in te. Yeah. I'd say most likely simply and in this case, but we'll see. Then we have boken. This is a term those who have watched other series in this channel should know. We haven't studied its kanji because it's in the title of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Yeah, it means adventure. Chinese compound, unaccented. Then we have the object particle o, written as wo, and pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have the verb suru, the usual verb, which means to do. So yeah, literally do an adventure in this case. And yeah, you can. What's worth mentioning that is that while you can simply make turn Chinese compounds, which often are nouns, into verbs by adding suru, so yeah, to do an adventure, and so to adventure. But technically the origin is still that of noun plus suru. So yeah, it can also be used. We can also find after the Chinese compound the object particle. It's not required. There are cases in which it isn't used, But yeah, it can sometimes show up because yeah, that's the origin. So yeah, here even more so it would be literally do an adventure. After that we have koto, thing as in matter, nominalizer for verbs. And yeah, technically verb, suru, after it a noun, koto, so would be technically relative clause as well, or you could simply consider it yeah, as a nominalizer for verbs. Yeah, the structure is that one. Then we have the particle ni, and yeah, funny enough, here we can see what I mentioned above. To, into, even better in this case, because after that we have narimasu, and yeah, again naru, to become into, literally, the fact of doing an adventure. Naru, as mentioned, verb colon verb, we can change the u into i, make the continuative form. In this case required that because then we had the auxiliary verb mas, and so to make the polite form of the verb. What's important saying in this case is that this structure koto ni naru has a particular meaning. Because yeah, literally it would be it becomes into the fact of doing the action of a verb. But because of that original meaning, the usage nowadays, it's an expression which means that it has been decided so that it has been arranged so that yeah, even more, there are also other usages like simply to be the result of, to be the outcome of. Yeah, more often than not you see it as the first one. So yeah, when something has been decided, has been arranged by someone else, you say that that's something, that action of the verb, you put the verb and then koto ni narimasu. So yeah, in our case here, the translation would be as for you, in this world, literally would be well, I think actually technically we have seen that korekara hajimaru sekai, so yeah, it would technically be a relative clause. Yeah, literally would be more like something in this world where you can adapt it also as like that, where it's or you technically could also be starting from this point again in time in this case. But yeah, we'll see better when we have the full translation. It has been decided, it has been arranged that you'll become, we have the, I'd say the present used as a future simple, which is one of the usages of the present in Japanese. You will become it's one hero, it's one well, main protagonist, main character or protagonist, and yeah, that's why I'd say that the form is better like translated like that, and do an adventure. So yeah, simply the above, the part korekara hajimaru sekai de in general, simply, it's because, we are in this world and it's starting, and it's the start. But yeah, we can continue. Machi ya michi dokutsu ie no naka nado itaru tokoro ni iru hitotachi ni hanashikake iroiro na mono o shirabete hinto ya jouhou o asumemashou. It's missing a period there at the end. I think it's simply because there wasn't space, also considering the small arrow at the end. A period or potentially also an exclamation point, exclamation mark in this case. But yeah, of simply the sentence should end there anyway. But yeah, let's start and go in order. First and foremost, we have Machi. We have seen it a lot, funny enough, in the above-mentioned Zelda 2 Adventure of Link. Because yeah, Machi should be accent under the last syllable it is. The last more doesn't change in this case. As a reminder quickly, because I didn't last time, moras are also called beats with the Japanese term haku. They correspond to an individual kana symbol, with the exception of small ya, yu, yo, and a, i, u, e, o, which count together with the previous one. In general, they're the same as kana as a single kana symbol. So actually, also the mentioned along vowel, the doubling of the following consonant, all moras. Yeah, there can be distinctions as when it comes to the accent. For example, the mora might matter more, or the syllable. In other cases, the other way around. So yeah, just as a reminder, I mentioned it before, but not in this series. Yeah, Machi town. Then we have the particle ya, which we have seen, I think, also last time. Such things as and a non-exhaustive list. Funny enough, in this case, we actually started with a ya, but then we stopped adding particles, as we'll see in a second. But yeah, at least one is better to... they kept at least one to show that it's... Well, there is also the nado after it, as we see. Yes, they added one at least to show from the start that it's a non-exhaustive list. After that we have Michi, which means road, path, street, lane, passage, route, way. Yeah, funny enough, in the case of Pokemon games, route, or route, however you pronounce it. Michi is unaccented. Yeah, it is. Yeah, then we don't have a particle, but yeah, again, simply an implied still ya. So yeah, still part of this non-exhaustive list. Then we have dokutsu. Dokutsu. Actually, the U of ku should be barely heard, if at all, because it's between unvoiced consonants. It's a Chinese compound, which means cave, cavern, grotto, however you want, but the fundamental meaning is cave. Unaccented. Again, just like most Chinese compounds, as we have seen. As a reminder, Chinese compounds technically, by Chinese compounds I refer to terms with 2 or more Chinese characters, more often than not just 2, like in this case, one with do and the other one kutsu. When I usually speak of Chinese compounds, I'm referring to the most common ones of 2 characters, and those are usually unaccented. Then we have ye. We have seen it last time. In the previous series with Yoshi's house. And ye, accent on the last syllable means house. On the last being accented that way, when we add the possessive particle no, like in this case, it becomes unaccented. That's the rule with no. With other particles, we would actually hear the accent of words accented on the last syllable in general, actually. Even more specifically, more. But yeah, no is an exception. After that, we have Naka. Naka, the one we have studied its kanji in the Super Mario World series, so the previous one. This is the Naka, clearly, based on the context. Which means, the one with that kanji, and so the one which means inside, interior, middle, center, within, among. All those meanings, but yeah. In this case, inside of, technically, houses. In this case, by the way, I will translate it as a plural. Japanese words, we can specify the plural with pluralizing suffixes and so on. But yeah, the word itself can be either singular or plural. I'd say plural because, in this case, of course, there's more than one house, more than one town, street, cave, and so on. So yeah. And also, generically speaking, houses. But yeah. After that, we have Nado, as mentioned, as it means etc. and the like and so forth. With that, we have the confirmation that, that's where it stops, this non-exhaustive list. Nado on its own is accent on the last, on the first syllable. I wanted to say Nado, as I was pronouncing. So, after finishing this list, as mentioned, we have Itaru, a verb. We check its accent, but it means to arrive at. Technically, both as in get to a place, to arrive at a place, but also figuratively to arrive at a decision, to reach a stage, and so on. In our case, it's to get to a place. I'd say better the fundamental translation should actually be to reach. Because as we have seen, to arrive is more specifically the verb tsuku, which we have studied even its kanji in a previous series. I think it was actually Kirby's Adventure. That one is specifically to arrive at. This Itaru, accented by the way. We have that here. After that we have Tokoro. Tokoro, a noun. So the usual relative clause referred to that noun. in our case, Tokoro should be actually an accent. We've seen it in previous series. It means a place, a spot, scene, site. Also some extended meanings, but yeah, Tokoro is the fundamental meaning is place. Yeah, Tokoro unaccented. And yeah, then we have the particle ni. And so we can actually see what I mentioned, ni used with the verbs of staying, like the following: iru, unaccented, to be as in to exist, of animate things, so people and animals, also pairing the following noun, as we'll see in a second. The opposite is, well, we also have aru, used for inanimate things, so yeah, objects, places, concepts. That one we've seen last time also. But yeah, after iru we have hitotachi. And yeah, so again, another relative clause up to iru and refer to this hitotachi. Wonder if I find it as is in the online dictionary. Yes. But yeah, its meaning, yeah, you might remember if you have watched the previous series, tachi, the fundamental pluralizing suffix. There are other ones, but yeah, this is the fundamental one. Especially used for people and animals. Technically, as it mentions also in the dictionary, the online dictionary and plugin combo, formerly honorific. But yeah, we have seen that the accent, and I can confirm it also for this hitotachi in particular, is should always be before tachi itself. So yeah, on the top in this case. Hito on its own is person, or can also be technically people in general, as mentioned. Unaccented, and we studied its kanji. Yeah, it's a fundamental kanji, and luckily we have already checked it out. Oh yeah, people specifically in this case. Then we have the particle ni. In this case, tu, required by the following verb, as we see. Makes sense when you see that. Which is hanashi kakeru. Let me search it also for the accent, but yeah, it's a compound verb from hanasu, accented. This one we've seen before several times. To talk, to speak, to converse, to chat. It's a verb colon verb, so we can change the u into i. In this case, to make the conjugative form, required to then attach the second verb part of the compound. Which is kakeru. Kakeru is means the fundamental meaning is to hang up, to let hang. It has also several extended meanings. A classic one, for example, is the verb used to put on glasses. Technically also to wear a necklace, as it mentions the dictionary. But yeah, technically when you put on things that technically hang from you. But yeah. In this case though, kakeru technically, I want to search it on its own. Because when added, it's one of those verbs that have peculiar meanings when added to another verb as part of a compound, as the second part of a compound. Well, in this case, it's the specific. It's a specific meaning for this verb in this compound. Technically, also other ones, but yeah, this is the fundamental one. It gets the meaning to the extended meaning to address someone, to direct something to someone, to do something to someone. And yeah, it indicates that an action is being directed to someone. We'll see other usages as the second part of compounds in other cases, but yeah, let's focus on this one in this case. So yeah, Hanashi Kakeru, luckily also accented on the, just like Kakeru. There are exceptions, as we have unfortunately already seen, but most should follow these. Actually, seems to follow these. To follow the accent of the original verb of the second verb part of the compound. But yeah, so yeah, literally would be to address someone, to accost a person, to talk to someone. It's worth mentioning actually, because actually it's the meaning most likely used in this case. Kakeru, when used as the second verb part of a compound, can also have the meaning to be, to begin, technically to begin but not complete, or to be about to be partway doing. And yeah, so actually another meaning of Hanashi Kakeru is to begin to talk, to start a conversation. Better let's say to begin to talk to, and yeah, now we can see why we have the particle ni, to people in our case. Then Kakeru, and so also Hanashi Kakeru, are root verbs, incident verbs, so we can drop the root to make the continuative form. So the accent should be on the last syllable. I wonder if I find it actually on its own, but I have doubts in this case. Yeah, no, I can't find it. But yeah, continuative form, which actually is used with the meaning, just like the te form, do the action of the verb in the continuative form and the rest of the sentence. Yeah, actually unsurprising, because the te form is actually, te is the continuative form of an auxiliary in classical Japanese. So yeah, unsurprising that then the continuative form of a verb in general can have that meaning. Using the continuative form instead of the te form is technically more formal. Also found often in written text more than spoken, but yeah, in general formal. But yeah, the meaning is the same, so yeah. Begin to talk, so address people, and then we have Iroiro. We've seen it last time. Ciao Guillaume, hello. Yeah. Iroiro, we have seen last time. It comes technically from Iro, accent on the last syllable, color, with this doubling of the term. Technically, the doubling of a word is a way of a noun, usually, is a way to make the plural. Yeah, in this case, would be it's more than a plural, is of, it gets the meaning of various, most likely originally colors, but yeah, nowadays simply various. Be careful though, because Iro, unlike Iro on its own, is unaccented. But yeah, as we have seen, an adjective, and we can also see here, so yeah, values something. That something is mono. Thing as in objects. So yeah, kotos you have seen thing as in matter. Mono, a thing as in objects. We've studied also its kanji. Things. We'll simply keep it, in this case, objects. Then we have the object particle o. We have shirabete. The verb shiraberu. We've seen it also, I think, last time. It means, or in the previous series, the very least recently, it means to examine, accented, to examine, to look up, to investigate, to check up, and so on, to search, to inquire. Yeah, it's the fundamental meaning, to examine. It's a ru verb, ichidan verb, so you can drop the ru to make the continuative form and simply then attach te to make the te form. Be careful when it comes to the accent though, because yeah, in the case of an accented verb like this one, the rule in general is that the te form is accented on the third to last mora. Of course, if the accent can stay on it, if it's if not, then it moves to further back. Okay, third to last mora. So actually, with verbs, Kodan verbs, usually the accent stays on the same spot as the dictionary form. We can see above, for example, natte. With verbs, ichidan verbs, it actually moves back one mora. Shiraberu, that I form shirabete. Low, high, and then low, low. Yeah, just be careful about that. But the rule is always third to last, and yeah, we can see it for natte also. High, low, low. And yeah, the form, so again, with I mean, do the action of the verb and. Or by doing that, I'd say actually by doing that in this case. Yeah, after that we have a hinto. From English, hint. Pretty easy, pretty clear. We only have the additional o because the t can stay on its own. We add o in particular because by adding the usual u, we will get tsu. So yeah, no. There are some words that do like that act that way, but yeah, most now add o instead. Yeah, hint, hint clue, but hint specifically accented just like in English, luckily. Then we have again the particle ya, so yeah, such things as again an non-exhaustive list. After that we have joho, another Chinese compound. Should be unaccented, I think. It means information, technical news, report, intelligence. Yeah, this fundamental meaning, I'd say information. And yeah, luckily unaccented being a Chinese compound. Then we have the object particle o. Then we have Atsume Masho. From Atsumeru. I think it should be accented. We check to collect, to assemble, to gather. Again, it's one of those. This is the transitive. The intransitive is Atsumaru. So yeah, transitive in Eru, intransitive in Aru. The intransitive is again a classical form of the passive. So yeah, is collected, something is collected, and so yeah, something collects, as in gathers, assembles. But yeah, it's atsumeru in particular is a ru verb, it's an verb. So we can drop the ru to make the continuative form to then attach masho. Masho, the accent is on the sho. Is actually the volitional form of mass. And so yeah, we get the volitional form of the verb in polite speech. With its, in this case, simply in its most common usage, let's. So yeah, the translation here is being pretty long. You have to find a good starting point. Technically, we have the I'd say actually that we should say let's gather hints and information, such things as hints and information by, and then we have to go back to the hanashikake first and foremost by starting to speak or addressing, simply in this case maybe better, addressing people who stay, we could say, who stay in places in which you where you get to, such as towns, routes, caves, inside of houses, and so on, etc. And by we get back the by, we had by examining various things. So yeah, by the way, in this case actually we have the continuative form of the verb hanashikake for hanashikake, hanashikakeru. Hanashikake would be the accent technically. Should be the accent in its continuative form. While we have the form for shirabete, also because the first has simply the meaning and, the form more by doing that those actions, actually both. Oh yeah, so the translation is that. I'd say, yeah, we have another page here. I'd say it's better if we take our usual break right now, around 5 minutes. When we'll be back, we'll check out this final part. Actually, I think, yeah, in Japanese there's actually a third one, so yeah. But yeah, we have unfortunately this part to check, so yeah, we have to check it. Well, technically I could take screenshots. Yeah, we'll see. I'll actually take the screenshots just to be sure. We might consider checking the rest another time. We have another part of intro, which is actually the original intro of the original games after this. So yeah, we might consider checking the rest of these, which is, as you might have guessed, based on what we have seen so far, it's a general explanation of what you are, general hints of what you are supposed to do in the game overall. Yeah, like you become the hero of this story. You should, let's, in Japanese, let's gather hints and information by doing all those things. So yeah, actually I think we'll, after that, this will come back to another time. And yeah, when we, after the break, which we are still taking now, we'll actually start the intro of the original games, so after these screens, and we'll get back to these at the start of the next and following episodes. So yeah, see you in around 5 minutes. And we are back. And yeah, so we can continue. And yeah, we'll actually move on. And yeah, look, who's back? Guess who's back? Back again. Or we could say, to keep it more in Japanese, Okaeri. Yeah, welcome back to the channel, Professor Oak, after playing Pokémon Snap. Yeah, of course, actually, what he says here, first and foremost, funny enough, is Hajimemashite. Yeah, we have Okido Hakase. In Japanese, as you mentioned, Ringo. Yeah, since this is actually the first time we meet him in this game, and we are a different person, he says, Hajimemashite. Technically from Hajimeru. as we have seen, actually hajimeru should be, as we have seen, unaccented. To begin, we drop the ru, it's a ru verb, it's an verb, we drop the ru to make the continuative form. In this case, to add maste, notice that she, the E of she barely heard if at all because it's between unvoiced consonants. Yeah, this is actually the te form of mas, usually not used in contemporary Japanese, because usually when you use the te form of a verb, you conjugate the verb itself, you don't pass from the mas form. You keep the mas form to point out that it's a polite form of the verb for the verb at the end. Yeah, so the opposite of usages of the te form, which are in the middle to make the meaning and do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence, used for conjugation with auxiliary verbs. But yeah, it exists and it's still used in certain expressions like this one. Literally, it means I begin. It's actually hajimemashite, the greeting, the expression for nice to meet you. So yeah, you use this when you meet someone for the first time. Yeah, you can see why then we use the verb hajimeru. It's worth mentioning that even though we can see it here with, well, here is actually, hajimemashite is actually found usually in kana alone. But if we were to use a kanji, it would be a different one compared to the one usually used for hajimeru nowadays, but never mind that, just to mention it in passing. Yeah, so, nice to meet you. How do you do? Yeah. And yeah, after that, of course, he says, Pokétto Monster no Sekai e Yokoso. Yeah, we have the, again, Pokétto, pocket. Be careful about the accent, as we have already mentioned with the title of this game last time. Monster, monster, pocket monster. And we have the possessive particle no. Sekai, again, word. The word of pocket monsters, the word of Pokemon. Then we have the particle e, written as he, two words, simply two in this case. Because after that we have yokoso, another expression. We've seen it before, because I remember actually we have checked out also the origin. The accent is on the yo, so high and everything else low. The origin of this expression is actually from I, yoi. You might start seeing why then. I, yoi is the adjective which means good, and several other similar meanings, nice, and so on. Here we will drop the I and add ku to make the adverbial form, technically. Adverbial form which can be used for the adverb or for further conjugation. It technically should be the adverb, let's say. It then becomes u because the k drops. As we have seen also in other honorific expressions. In other, actually, better to say, in other expressions with adverbial forms, usually in greetings and so on. The typical arigato gozaimasu we have seen, ohayo gozaimasu. all adjectives in their adverbial forms in ku, there with then the addition of gozaimasu or implied, but yeah, with the k dropped and then phonetic changes due to that. Here simply yo u, so long yo becomes yeah, so good, or in this case I'd say better well, because it's the adverb. Yeah, you might see why then yokoso means welcome. Yeah, the well is the same as in English then. The additional part of this is koso, which is a particle, which means it is that, precisely, in particular, definitely, for sure, only, technically, but yeah. I'd say the fundamental meaning is precisely. And yeah, it's used to emphasize the preceding word or phrase. And so yeah, it's exactly well, and then in Japanese technically is implied the come, but yeah, still you can see why it's similar to English, but yeah, with the well of yoku, yo, u, in this case yo, but yeah, that's the origin. Yeah, so simply it means welcome to, and yeah, that's why we use the particle e. We can use also ni for two words, but usually with yoko, so we have e in particular. And yeah, welcome to the world of Pocket Monster. Yeah, let's continue. Watashi no namae wa Okido. Technically, it should stop there, then. Yeah, funny enough, in this game, Oak, as we can see, uses, at least here, uses watashi. The fundamental pronoun for I in Japanese, first person singular pronoun. Watashi, unaccented. Actually, an abbreviation of watashi. Notice the ku, the u of ku barely heard if at all because it's between voice consonants. Watashi, also unaccented. That one is more formal. But yeah, watashi is the fundamental one since it's slightly formal. Can also be slight or feminine. But yeah, more often than not you see it used in general for slightly formal. Yeah, I mentioned that because actually we have seen in Pokemon Snap that he used washi, another abbreviation of watashi. Washi is the one used by elderly. Technically, I'm not sure if I've actually mentioned it before, but according to the dictionary, it's technically male term or language. But yeah, here he uses a more simple watashi. Then we have the possessive particle no, so actually mai, of me literally, oh yeah, mai. Then we have namae, we've seen it before. Actually in several games, because yeah, we've seen it in the file select screen, or actually in the when choosing a name for the file, because yeah, namae means name. It's a compound technically, as we have seen before, from na, an accented, which on its own means name, given name. Name in general, more specifically given name. Here we have the addition of mae, mae which means before, and other meanings, but yeah, here simply before, I'd say. So yeah, we get this namae, again, simply name in general, or more specifically given name. Then we have the topic particle wa. So yeah, as for my name, implied, the copula, it's also an it, but yeah, in Japanese it's not required. While the copula should be used, but it's implied here. Adesso would be most likely. So the polite form. But yeah, then we have simply his name, Okido. Again, most likely actually from Okid. Yeah. So his name is Okid in Japanese. Yeah, after that he says Minakara wa Pokémon Hakase to, and then actually continues. But yeah, first let's focus on what he says here. Minna should be accented on the last syllable. It means everyone, everybody. Technically, the original form is Mina, which is actually still used. But yeah, Minna can be heard even more so because it's technically also less formal, but even more so, more emphatic. So yeah, it's actually in more formal contexts you'll hear Mina. But yeah, more often than not, you hear Minna. You might have heard it also in anime and so on. Then we have Kara, from, as we have seen. And then we have actually Wa. So yeah, it's a technical compound particle with Kara, from, and then the topic particle Wa. And so literally, as for from everyone, so yeah, simply we put from everyone as the topic of the sentence. Then he says Pokémon, yeah, the abbreviation for pocket monster, Pokémon, basic one. And by the way, Pokémon is funny enough one of those examples, the perfect example of the tendency in Japanese to abbreviate titles of works, in our case video games, anime, manga, books, and so on. By taking two moras of a part and two moras of another one, where usually the first two moras of one of the words and two moras of another one. There are some exceptions. But yeah, usually this is the rule. Unfortunately, don't think I found the accent of these. I have the suspicion that they might be unaccented Pokemon, but I can't confirm it. If we have the chance and we can find an actual one in a dictionary, we'll see it and finally verify it. But yeah, Pokemon. And then we have Hakase, which we have seen technically means the fundamental meaning would be doctor, as in, well, actually the original meaning would be expert, learned person. By extension it becomes doctor, PhD, but it's actually a colloquial usage. The accent of Hakase on its own is on the ha. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see when used as a title, like in this case, because technically it would be Professor, Pokemon Professor. Well, well, in this case, more like a compound, but we have seen it actually used after Okido, and then Okido Haka. So yeah, that's the typical title after the name of a person. Unfortunately, we couldn't verify it. My guess is the accent on Ha. Still on Ha itself. At most, maybe before it, but yeah, no, I'd say most likely on the Ha. Lucky just like the word on its own. Then we have the particle to with, most likely, considering what has been said so far, we'll have a verb of saying, to say, to call, can also be used with the verbs to think and so on. And so yeah, actually, with technically we could keep it in a sense, but more specifically, not with someone. With and then a quotation. So the quotation particle in this specific case. So yeah, most likely it will be as for literally from everyone. Most likely after that we'll have I'm called Pokémon Professor. We'll actually check it now. Okay, we actually could advance and still keep that one. So yeah, we'll actually continue here. Hakase to shitawarete oru yo. We have this shitawarete from which actually should come from shitau. Even though it's a peculiar usage of it, I'd say. Because yeah, shitau, actually shitau unaccented on its own, would mean to yearn for, to long for, to pine for, to miss, to love dearly, to adore. By extension then to follow someone, to idolize, for virtually learning status. It would be a U verb, quote verb. So we can change the U into A. Being a verb in U, it becomes actually wa, because actually the verbs in U were actually in fu, originally pu. So yeah, papi, pupe, po. But then, with the evolution of the language being not at the start of a word, the P became W, the W. So yeah, wa, we, U remained the same, we, wo, but nowadays only wa remains, and so yeah, it then, technically, it used to be written as shita, ha, pronounced as wa, but yeah, nowadays then changed into wa, pronounced as wa. And by the way, yeah, that's the reason why we the topic particle is wa written as ha, because yeah, they kept the original writing for that particle. Like for e written as he, same reason. And yeah. But yeah, by changing the u into a and then adding re, ru, here we can then further modified because of further conjugation, we technically get the passive form of the verb. This is the contemporary way to make the passive form of a verb, in this case a U verb. So yeah, technically to, the meaning would be to, well, in this case, let's say better technically to be loved dearly, to be adored. or we could say to be idolized, and yeah, would make sense in our case for virtue, for learning better, for status. So yeah, actually in that sense, but yeah, it wasn't the the verb I expected, but it makes sense. But yeah, the passive forms of verbs are root verbs, each-done verbs. By the way, unaccented, since the original verb was unaccented. Yeah, being root verbs, each-done verbs, we can simply drop the root to make technically the continuative form of the verb, and then simply attach that to make that a form. The form in this case is required because then we had oru. We have seen iru before. Oru is its accented, unlike iru. Is its honorific form, specifically humble form. The meanings are the same, to be as in to exist, of animate things. After that, the form of a verb, though, both iru and oru have act as auxiliary verbs with the meanings either to be doing the action of the verb or to have add whatever that verb says. So yeah, either a continuing action or a continuing state. In translation, I'd say in this case maybe better the being form of the verb, even though technically it could be considered a continuing state. But yeah, last but not least, we have yo at the end, the final sentence particle, with usually used simply for certainty or emphasis, even simply emphasis. Can also be content, request, warning. Hey is one of its translations, not mentioned in the dictionary, but I'd say is actually appropriate. Also, you know, as also other usages, but we have mentioned them before. But yeah, here is at the as a final sentence particle. And yeah, so the full translation is actually as for from everyone. Being actually a passive form of the verb, here we have kara. Usually the agent of passive forms of passive verbs is actually marked with the particle ni. So yeah, be careful. Here we can actually use also kara, but yeah, more often than not, you should actually use ni, and you'll find the ni. And unfortunately, you can't then bring it back to the meaning to. Yeah, it's simply the rule that the agent is marked by ni usually. But yeah, as for from everyone, I'm technically adored, or better, I'd say in this case, idolized, because of his virtue, learning better, status. As, then we adapt it in English, the Pokémon professor. You know. And yeah, we have this yo at the end, or simply to say for emphasis. Oh yeah, we can continue. There, we got to see quickly. Can actually still take it. I'll quickly show it. Not that it was long, so actually, yeah, here. And it's actually pretty easy, so I actually got to see it in time. I had to show it. here it says kono sekai ni wa. First we have kono, these. With no, we have the demonstrative adjective, so followed by a noun, in this case, again, sekai, this word. Then we have ni, in this case, most likely, also considering the context, in, at, so with a verb of staying, as we see, and then simply the topic particle. As for in this word, yeah, we can continue. Let's go back to the game itself. Yeah, we got a Nidoran female. In Japanese, Nidoran Mesu, as we see eventually. Mesu means female of animals. Or technically also plants. Yeah. Mesu, accent on the last syllable. The opposite is osu, also accent on the last syllable, mora. Yeah. But yeah, here Oak says Pokétto Monster to yobareru ikimono tachi ga, and then actually we'll continue. Yeah, first and foremost, we have the usual Pokétto Monster, Pocket Monsters. To, the quotation particle, even clearer in this case, because after that we have the verb yobareru, from yobu, which, let's check its accent, though, unaccented, okay, so actually, yobu, yobareru, it means to call, in this case to call something, someone, we could say something, to call by name. I can also mean to call out to other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental meaning is to call. U verb colon verb, so again we can change the U into A and then add reru, we can see it as is in this case to make the passive form, so yeah. Are called. After that we have a noun, so yeah, again relative clause refer to the noun. Noun which is ikimono, which funny enough you could write yourself if you have followed the kanji we've studied so far. Because yeah, it's a compound noun from ikiru, to live. It's a root verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form iki. Should be accented actually when used on its own. Actually it isn't, surprisingly, so be careful, it's an exception. Accented on the last syllable, but yeah. In this case, straight up actually unaccented, apparently, according to the online dictionary plus plugin combo. But never mind, in this case, we simply use it technically. Well, technically you could consider it still as a noun. But yeah, here simply required to then attach the second part of the compound, which is mono. Again, think as in object. As you have seen, yeah, we've studied both kanji. Funny enough, both in Kirby's Adventure, I think. As a reminder, again, you can check, you can review those kanji if you want to review them by watching or learn them if you have missed them by watching previous series. I put in the descriptions of the playlists the specific parts in which you can find each kanji we studied so far. But yeah, we get this ikimono. Actually, ikimono. the accent is on the mo. Cioè, notice that it's different from mono on its own. Makes sense actually that it's accented on the mo. As we have seen, the accent of such compounds, there are variations and exceptions, but yeah, a typical spot for the accent in such compounds is at the start of the second word, part of the compound. So yeah, in our case, mo. Yeah, so it's perfect. Ikimono. Low, high, high, low. Yeah, from live and thing, yeah, simply living thing. Okay, living thing, and so yeah, then living creature. Technically, animal, life, better. Be careful with the meaning technically animal, because there's a specific word for animal. We've seen it before, I think. Dobutsu, a Chinese compound. Unaccented should be being a Chinese compound. But yeah. Fundamental translation. The literal one. Living thing. Yeah, Dobutsu unaccented. Oh yeah, after that actually we have tachi. So yeah, the accent then actually is on the no, because of the rule with tachi. The accent is always before tachi when we add it. According to the dictionary, and we have had a further confirmation today with hitotachi. Another example. Yeah, in this case would be then ikimono tachi. But yeah, so specific living things, specifically the plural. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then we would have the rest of the sentence. But yeah, we can translate so far. As for in this word, konosekai ni wa, as we have seen above. Living things called. If we want to keep it, if we want to keep the relative, living things that are called, to simplify it, we can simply use living things called Pocket Monster. And yeah, before the to we have the quotation, its name, the quoted name of these living things. And yeah, the final part of this sentence is Itaru Tokoro ni Sundeiru. Okay, so we actually have again this Itaru Tokoro. I wonder if I can find it in the dictionary then. Ah yeah. Technically, the Itaru Tokoro, the literal translation is the one I mentioned. Places in which one gets to, but by from that original meaning, clearly, the literal meaning, we get this expression Itaru Tokoro, which means everywhere. So yeah, in the sense of no matter the place in which you get to, and so everywhere, all over, throughout. So yeah. Luckily, the accent of this expression, Itaru Tokoro, we've seen that Itaru is accented, so yeah, we keep the accent of Itaru, and then Tokoro is all low, Itaru Tokoro. Yeah, so we have everywhere, the particle ni, again required by the verb, which we can finally see is sundeiru. The verb sumu. If we haven't seen it before, I've at least mentioned it, I think. Because it means to live, technically of humans, better to live in the sense of to reside, to inhabit, to dwell. And yeah, sumu is accented. It's a verb colon verb. So we can say we have to make the te form, like in this case we have to follow the rules. It's in mu, so it becomes te. Oh. Again, the origin is the same, we change the u into e to make the continuative form, then add te. But then the e fell, so only the remained. And that influenced the te to become de. That's because actually voiced, what are now voiced consonants, those with duck 10, or nigori, if you want to call it like that. The quote-unquote voicing, in classical Japanese there wasn't only that, but those consonants were also prenasalized. So yeah, de on its own would be de. So yeah, actually, when we had that which then becomes a generic then it influenced the te to become de. And yeah, nowadays it's simply written as on its own, the individual nasal moral, and then de. Te form required because then we had iru. Again, the auxiliary in this case after the form of a verb containing state, containing action or state. In translation, I say simply are living, technically continuing action. But yeah, so the full translation is we've seen as for in this world. We had the whole matter of them being called pocket monsters, living things, live, or we can adapt it as in reside, inhabit, dwell, everywhere. And yeah, so that was the introduction to what Pokemon, to Pokemon's existence. Oh yeah, then it continues the explanation here. Sono Pokémon toいう生き物を人はペットにしたり and then continues. Also, we don't have a period or anything like that, but also consider the final form, the form we have here of the verb. Oh yeah, first and foremost we have sono, so that, in this case better those, because of the context, certainly those, as so those Pokemon, as in the living things we've seen above. Then we have again to, the quotation particle, in this case with you, to say, and then by extension simply to call, as in to name, if we want to say more specifically to distinguish it from yobu. You, by the way, we have studied its kanji as well. You, also pronounced as you. But yeah. After that, we have a noun. Again, our ikimono. Yeah, so relative clause. Living things. We'll keep the plural, of course, in reference to the part before. named called better Pokemon. And then we actually had to put at the start those living things called Pokemon. Then we have the object particle O. Then we have Hito, person or people. In this case, actually people in general. Unaccented, as we have seen. Then we have the topic particle Wa. As for people, we have petto. Of course, from English pet. Apart from the additional O because the T can stay on its own. Most consonants can't, unlike except for the N we have seen. Notice also the doubling of the consonant in Japanese, so be careful. Yeah, pet. The accent is the same, so on the pet. Then we have the particle ni. To, I say better into in this case. Because then we had stari. So actually the verb, from the verb suru, we have seen it with its fundamental meaning to do. But when we added the particle ni before it, and then before that a noun, it becomes to make into. To make into pets. Suru is unfortunately completely irregular, so to make that a form, like in this case, we simply have to remember that it becomes sta. Luckily, we can actually simply remember that suru, its continuative form is shi, and so then we simply add ta to that, sta. The is barely heard it at all because it's written up as consonants. Here, ta form of the verb not on its own, because then we had ri, and so yeah, we get this tari. This form of the verb is actually used for ing, or doing such things as. Yeah, you might guess, based on this second translation, that yeah, it's the equivalent for verbs of using ya, the particle ya, and so for unexhaustive lists. Also ing and ing in the sense of opposite actions alternated, coming and going, for example, as it mentions in the dictionary. But yeah, more often than not, like in this case, actually simply a non-exhaustive list of actions. It's worth mentioning that notice the I of ta, ri, because actually it's a continuative form of tari. I think actually, I don't remember if it was tari original or straight up taru in this case. But either way, yeah, it's a continuative form. So yeah, unsurprisingly, that by making this a continuative form, then we can continue, in this case with a list specifically, but yeah, in general. Yeah, the translation so far is those living things called Pokémon. As for people, they, implied because of the people, make them, as in the Pokémon, into pets, and then it continues. Yeah, the additional part is Shobuni Scattari. First and foremost, we have Shobu, which I don't think we've actually seen before as a term. It means It's a Chinese compound. Accent on the first syllable, this one. So yeah, the second most common accent for those. Literally, it uses the kanji for to win and to be defeated. So yeah, the literal meaning would be victory or defeat as a noun. By extension, victory or defeat becomes match, contest, game, bout, as it says in the dictionary. Yeah, you see it more often than not. Not in its literal meaning, but yeah, in this extended one, match, contest, game. Ni. I'd say in this case better for. The particle ni can be used with certain verbs with the meaning for, or better I could say in order to technically. But yeah, I'd say in that sense in this case. Because yeah, then we have the verb tsukau here as tsukatari. Actually, let me quickly check one thing. I got the physical dictionary to check the accent of the tari form, because in this case, while luckily with accented verbs, we should most likely keep the accent of the verb. With unaccented ones, with like shtari, in our case katari, most likely there's an accent for tari itself. Oh yeah, not sure what happened there. We got an interruption again due to OBS. But yeah, as I was saying, while I search for the accent of tari, because in this case we have unaccented verbs. In our case, this one I can mention while searching for it. Tsukau should be unaccented, but I'll check. We have seen it before. To use means. It's a verb called a verb, so we have to follow the rules. It's in U to make the form, it's in U, so yeah, again, double consonant ta. Actually, because as mentioned, U was actually Pu originally, so Tsukapi, and we would change the U into I to make the contractive form Tsukapi ta, and the I fell most likely. Tsukapta, difficult to pronounce, Tsukatta. But yeah, I wanted to check the accent of tari. Yeah, actually, I did remember correctly. Wasn't pronouncing correctly though. The accent is on the ta. So yeah, when the verb is unaccented, the accent is on ta. In our case, for example, shtari, tsukattari. Low, high, and low. Low, high, 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 low. While for accented verbs, accented verbs keep the accent of the verb. But yeah, simply the translation here of this additional part. Then we have the suspension dots. Is as for people, they make them into pets. They use them for matches. Yeah. And then the suspension dots, because, and so on. So ste. And other suspension dots. そして is a conjunction. I actually can find the accent of it there. We'll check in the physical dictionary. Good thing I've already taken it. It means and as a conjunction, so actually at the start of a sentence. Notice that there's that te, so yeah, most likely actually a te form. Even though nowadays it isn't used a verb like that. Yeah, see, and then, thus, and now, and finally. Yeah. So, notice the E barely heard it at all because between the she, it's between our voice consonants. Let me quickly find it. So, she. Okay, yeah. There it is. Simply an accent. Okay, so ste. So yeah. Okay, I had heard it as so ste, but yeah, wanted to check. And then he says, 私はこのポケモンの研究をしているというわけだ。Actually, with that da at the end, most likely it ends there. Yeah, first and foremost, it says 私は again. As for me, この these, or better, these Pokemon. No, the possessive particle. Kenkyu, which we have seen in previous series, I think, including Pokemon Snap, unsurprisingly. It means research, study, investigation. The fundamental meaning is research. Unaccented is a Chinese compound. Research of Pokemon. Pokemon research, we could also keep it. Then we have the object particle O. Shiteru. Actually, from Suru again, we make the form. Again, change the Suru into it's completely irregular. We change Suru into Si to make the continuative form, and then simply add Te. Luckily in that it's similar to Ruverbs and verbs. And then we would add Iru, here shortened into Ru. We drop the E, but yeah, the meaning is still the same. Here I guess also because they didn't have literally more space. But it's usually used because yeah, it's more practical. Although, of course, somewhat more less formal at the very least, if not colloquial. After that, we have liter Toyu Waked Da. Technical and expression. We have first to. A quotation particle, you again, to say. We have wake, reason, cause, grounds, meaning, sense in this case, let's say better. Or technically also circumstances, case. And yeah, then the last but not least, copula, here in plain speech, da. But yeah, this expression, toyu wake da. So yeah, literally, the reason, the case we could say, or the sense, is, well, it is the reason, and then we have a quotation with that toyu of what the reason is. So this expression actually means this is why, or this means it is the case that. And yeah, so I'd say in this case, it is the case that, well, as for me, it is the case that, or we could say this is why this means, that literally I do this the research of these Pokémon. Oh yeah, then it means Nidoran back. Okay. Then Ox says, では、はじめに君のことを教えてもらおう。First and foremost, we have では a conjunction technically from the, most likely in this case the form of the copula. Then we have wa, technically the topic particle. When added to the te form of a verb, it has the meaning if. Literally, we could say as for that being the case, better than if that's the case. And so yeah, this expression dewa, the accent should be on the de, and it is, means then, well, so, well then, as other usages, but let's focus on this one for now. And yeah, then we have hajime ni, came from hajimeru. We drop the ru to make the continuative form, so the corresponding noun. So, start, beginning, with the particle ni at the start, beginning, literally. Yeah, this hajime ni, actually you can find the accent of it there, I'll quickly check in the physical dictionary. It then means firstly, first of all, or better, closer to the translation, to begin with, in the beginning, at the beginning. Yeah, then simply we could say, we could translate it as first, or firstly, first of all. I want to quickly check it if I can find it in the physical dictionary. Hajime should be an accented on its own, so yeah. My guess would be simply an accented, but which I'm not completely sure, because it might change. No, I'd say simply an accented. Can find it. Okay, let's continue. Then we have Kimi. Funny enough, another second person singular pronoun, like anata. This is one is unaccented. Kimi. Familiar language. Sometimes considered actually male language, as mentioned in the dictionary. Of course, referring to someone of equal or lower status. But yeah. A familiar you, more simply, the fundamental meaning. Then we have no, the possessive particle as usual. Koto, literally thing as in matter, as we have seen. We could adapt it as in about you. Literally, things of you. Yeah, things about you. Even better, simply about you, technically, in this case. And we have the object particle o. We have the verb oshete, osheru. I think it was an accent, but we check it means to teach, to instruct. By extension, simply to tell, to inform, to show. Better to tell, to inform. An accent, yes. It's a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can simply drop the ru to make the continuative form, and then attach the te. Te required because then we had morau. Morau is one of the verbs of giving. This one in particular to receive. When used after these verbs of giving used after the te form of a verb, they become auxiliaries with the meaning to do the favor of doing the action of the verb in te. In this case, we don't have more a U on its own, but we further conjugate it. It's a verb codon verb, so we can change the U into O and then add U, so long O, to make the volitional form. And yeah, so simply in our case, let's. So yeah, here it says, well then, in the beginning, literally, first, let's receive literally the favor of you, implied, telling me, implied, about you, things of you, literally. Yeah, we can continue. I'm not sure if I have the time for all these, so we might have to continue next time this part. But yeah, for now let's at least continue to an extent. Yeah, here he says, Kimi wa otoko no ko kana? Yeah, Kimi, you, topic particle wa, as for you. Then we have otoko no ko. Literally, male child. So yeah, boy. Be careful that despite the rules we have mentioned about no, in this case, otoko on its own would be accented on the last syllable, and would mean man or male. But here is actually kept because it became a compound like this, so yeah, it doesn't follow the usual rules, so be careful. Otoko no ko, low, high, high, low, low. But yeah, boy. Then we have the particle kana at the end. Technically a compound particle from ka, interrogative particle, usual simply for questions. Then this na. We have seen with several meanings technically the na particle. Here simply kana combined, it means I wonder. Other meanings like should I, is it, yeah, in this case simply I wonder if, as for you, if, we would add in English, you are a boy, literally a male child. Then at the bottom we have soretomo. Which means or else. Sore, the usual that, and then we have this particle tomo, which means has several meanings on its own. Certainly, of course, to be sure, surely, or even if, though, although. But yeah, simply remember that technically this soretomo, I quickly check its accent while I mention it, it means or. We'll check it further potentially when we see it again. The accent is on the to, so be careful. Soretomo, because yeah, sore unaccented and to, the first particle, the accent is on the first particle of the compound. Yeah, or, and then we have onna no ko, the opposite, female child. Same rule, unfortunately, we don't follow the rule of no. So yeah, on Nanoko, low, high, high, low, low. On Na, accented on the syllable on its own. We choose the first option. But yeah, unfortunately, I know that there is more, and a good amount of it still. Not too much, but yeah, the risks to take too long. So we'll actually have to continue next time. But yeah, I choose the boy. And as mentioned, I'll say it again, I've already mentioned it before, my name will be Reddo. So yeah, red like in the manga. But yeah, we'll actually continue this next time then. So yeah, for now, let's close the game. And yes, so today we continued learning Japanese with Pokémon FireRed version. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the part where we are actually in control, so actually started the game, but yeah, as mentioned also last time, with all these intros, unfortunately, that's the case. But yeah, next time for sure, well, we'll continue with this part of the intro, the general intro additional to this game, to further remove it. But yeah, then we'll continue and hopefully finish this time the intro with Oak. And so the original intro, this is the one also present in the original games. And so I actually get to the start of the game, at least to save. And so actually I've started the file properly. But yeah, for today we have to stop here. Yeah, we'll do that unless plans change on Monday, as usual. Let me quickly see, but yeah, we should. Yeah, on Monday, as usual. Of course, there will also be a stream this Sunday, unless plans change. Now that it's confirmed that the next crossword, the next festival for crosswords, the Mega Man 1, will happen next week. So we'll play it the Sunday after. This Sunday we'll have a free slot. And yeah, we'll play, as mentioned, last time we played Kirby and Riders. This time we'll play some Mario Tennis Fever. So yeah, see you on Sunday for Mario Tennis Fever, mostly just for fun as usual. On Monday for the continuation of this series, and yeah, hopefully we'll continue with these intros. At the very least, finish the one of Oak, so that we get to start the game properly and save our save file. But yeah, see you next time.